So in this part, what we're gonna do is we want to add more layers of details to this, right? Just like the reference that I showed earlier. So first thing, I might want to adjust the tiling here a bit. So let's look for cloud styling and just set it instead of negative 2.2 to be positive 2.2. Right? They will increase the tiling a bit like this. We can increase the storm scale. Decrease the flow map intensity. Okay. So with that in place, I'd like to add a control over the contrast of the clouds here, okay? So I'm gonna say, for example, let's multiply this, or let's use the power node and say cloud 01 contrast, okay? This will be cloud 01 color. Okay, and I want to use another one. This one will be cloud 02. And this one will be cloud 02. Okay. One additional thing I'd like to do is I want to group our parameters in same group. So I'm just gonna use like, for example, these parameters are more related to the let's say to the flow map. So I'm just gonna look add it to flow map, and these are related to clouds. Okay, so just for clouds, and this one is related to background blend, or let's call it maybe dithering. Okay, now we multiply these together like this, right? For this one in particular, I might want to use 1 minus here, and then let's just add both of these. Okay. Now let's tweak those contrast parameters. So both of these will be initially like this. Right, and this one, let's try this one. We can play with the contrast. Right, so for this one, it will just be a little bit like this. And the second one can be like that, right? You can always like tweak these different parameters, and you might get interesting results. You can also tweak this rotation. We can choose different colors. We say this like that. Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll leave it lower value like this, and decrease the contrast here. All right, and for the other one, you can tweak the color. All right, we should leave it like this. Okay, now with this in place, what we can do is you should find in the download resources this texture, for example. All right, so we will be using this like above the clouds. All right, let's do that. um, but before doing any of that, like I'd like to show you how, like, in case you wanted the bottom part of the clouds to have this same color, almost the same color as the rest of the clouds, we can actually do that. All right, so the way to do it is we can grab the sky, let's say atmosphere, luminance and ground. Okay, and we should be able to use the vertex color red channel, because as you know, the red channel, if inverted, it will give you back the border part, right? Or you can use the masks here, because if you remember, we do have these two masks, right? But the vertex colors are more precise, to be honest. So all you have to do here is I'm gonna say linear interpolate, and I will grab this slightly multiplied by itself, so it's slightly contrasted, and we're gonna say multiply And here we want to control the intensity, so um, atmosphere sunlight um, intensity. So initially gonna be like 0, 1, and what we can do is we can just use a linear interpolation here. So when this is 0, right, this is the border, otherwise use this. Very simple. Also, you might want to control the the contrast and the intensity here. All right, so I'm just gonna say power node, atmosphere, sunlight, ma mask contrast, and then atmosphere, sunlight, mask, intensity. Let's saturate this. We need all of these initialized at value of 1. And then let's open our material instance. And with these in place, okay, so right now it's not very obvious because um, we are using yellow color for the crowds. So if you were to change this something else, like you might start to see the results there, right? So yeah, let's switch this to blue. So just for the sake of, so we can visualize the bottom part. All right. You can also tweak the tiling of the clouds to 3, 3.2, 3.1. All right. Now with this, all we have to do is just tweak the parameters carefully here. That's all we have to do. All right. Now, if you were like to change this the direction of the sunlight, you will see you're getting the proper color every time on the clouds, at least the bottom side of the clouds, right? So this is something cool to be aware of, right? Can open new possibilities for you to do interesting stuff, right? Like you don't really need to have this fancy blue colors and stuff like that. You can like use whatever the clouds color um, looks like, right? Maybe like in because this is maybe is too fantasy or something, so not most of games will have things like this, I guess. Okay, so now with this in place, what we can do, also keep in mind, like you can have the bottom side being a whole different cloud layer. Like you can just duplicate this with different parameters, different flow intensity and everything, and just blend it on top of the other one, right? It might make it look more interesting, but also it might make it more expensive. So now we want to add some stars right at the very top. So maybe these stars. So for that, I will just grab this texture and we will copy this, convert this to texture object. Then we plug the same parameters almost, aside from the tiling thing. So for the tiling, we're gonna call this stars tiling. And this atmosphere sunlight, we're gonna move it to atmosphere group. Same goes here. Like always make sure when you're building materials, you group things and you organize your nodes network and everything, because it can get messy very easily, and later on if you wanted to do some modifications it can be really hard, or even optimization, right? So with that in place, what I'm gonna do is I think I will use the vertex colors green channel to blend this second texture. Also, I'm wondering like whether I should stick to the same flow map settings here. So maybe at best what I can do is just maybe I can just add the scalar here. That's all I can do, I guess. That's the cheapest thing we can do. And call this stars flow intensity. Okay. I mean, when we're gonna change this later, we need to be careful. Like if the difference between these flow intensity is too high, it will look might see some breakup or some weird look. Okay, so we will need to be careful with that one. So for the diffuse, let's just say I'm gonna multiply this by stars color. Well, let's call stars change, because there is some original color already. And I'm gonna create a named reroute declaration. Gonna call it stars color. And I want to organize my graph much better than this, so I will move all of this here and create named reroute and call this flow map. Then gonna use it. Let's call it original flow vector. All right, flow vector, and this will go here and here and here. and you will not need to have all these messy networks everywhere, right? And you can name this, for example, flow vector. You can give it the same color as this one, right? And you can just leave it aside. You will never need to look at this again when you're dealing with these nodes here. Same goes for the dithering stuff. I'm gonna call this dithering. Add, name it reroute, dithering. Or maybe opacity mask. I just call it opacity mask for this part. There is something like that. All right. Also, always make sure to save your work. Then I'm gonna say opacity mask, and that's it. All right. And same thing, we can just move this aside entirely, and we will not really need to worry about this. Now our graph like feels much more organized. Okay. And later on we will do the same for the clouds, okay? Because yeah, it's a separate layer. So with the stars colors, what we're gonna do, we want to use the green channel in a linear interpolate. And I'm gonna grab the stars color. All right, let's move this here and call this stars color. Give it same color as this guy. We might wanna do have the same controls here, so let's do this. Stars, mass contrast, stars, and change category to stars. And same goes for everything here. All right. So this should be enough. Let's try to adjust our parameters. So stars contrast, intensity. As you can see, you can reduce the low map intensity. And just the tiling. 275 is the way to go, I guess. Now for the colors, you can really go for whatever look you need. like as long as of course you match it with the clouds. Alright, so maybe we'll just stick to the blue color for now. Alright. If you want, we can maybe instead of using the stars as a color here, we can just grab one of its channels, like maybe the green channel, right? So maybe we can do that actually. So I'm just gonna grab the green channel and then gonna expose a way to control the contrast, stars contrast. Make sure you set this to be stars, and now we should have this. You can control the intensity of the flow map. You can even like invert it a bit. Might look weird, so better keep it same direction. Yeah, I guess I will stick to this. This should be enough. And then you can even change colors if you want. Yeah, but I guess I'm just gonna try to leave it close to the original result I shared. And I will slightly edit the clouds. Let's look what we can do there. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. And for this one, I'm gonna just edit it a little bit. Yeah, we'll stick to this. Do not worry about the bright part there. It will be replaced if something else. Let's adjust the atmosphere sunlight intensity. Maybe we're looking at the contrast. Let's see. that we need to change. I guess this is totally fine, right? The bottom side of the clouds, you see it affected by the sun, right? And then as you go deeper um, into this hole, or let's say storm eye, gets blended into this blue color. And as you can also like play with the scale of this. Yeah, something like this. Can also play with the rotation, but in open world doesn't matter because you will be able to see this from anywhere else, so doesn't matter. All right, now with that in place, I want let's move this here. So I want the very tip, all right, to have something else entirely. Some noise with reddish color, I guess. So for that, I'm gonna do the same thing. Gonna look for noise, and you should find something like this one. All right, you can use the same flow map node. Is the original flow vector, right? For the flow intensity, yeah, we can expose this. So I'm gonna say tip noise flow intensity. The group is tip noise. UV is same thing. Gonna be tip noise styling, and the group is tip noise. The contrast, I'm not sure, but let me try something here, because I don't want to have this black spots, right? I want those to be bright anyway. So to do that, I just expose this. I'm gonna say tip noise color, or let's say, yeah, color. Let's grab the green channel, and then gonna multiply this, and just here gonna say, for example, here tip noise intensity, and then tip noise contrast. All right, so the color will be something like this initially. And then we're gonna say here, let me just say this will be saturate like this, and we might want to offset this a little bit. So I'm just gonna say tip noise offset. All right, and then let's add named reroute. Call this tip noise color. Give it something like this. Tip noise color. And let's move this to the right groups. Right. Now here we can use the what do you call we can use the blue channel, right? So for that I'm gonna say reroute, add named reroute. Gonna call this flow inner mask. Of course we need to multiply it by this mask, so essentially get rid of tiling. All right. And then we can say linear interpolation, inner mask. When this is 1, gonna use tip noise. Otherwise, use this. Also, you want to control the contrast here. Okay, so I'm just gonna say the intensity first, right? Tip noise mask intensity, or let's say call it inner mask intensity, inner mask contrast, and this goes to inner, let's give it inner mask. Right, so goes like this. Initially it's initialized at 1. Okay. Let's control this inner mask intensity. Let's look at the tip noise. And then there is a tip noise offset. The contrast maybe just a little bit. The intensity, I leave it at 1 for now. Yeah, the flow intensity, we can set it 0.75. And for the mask, I guess we will need to tweak this. Okay. 0.1, 0.05, 0.05. For this one, maybe 1.25, and the intensity maybe 1.5. You might want to increase the tiling a bit. Still, the flow intensity here at the very top is way too much, so maybe 0.75 will be fine. All right. As you can see, you can tweak the colors of the stars if you want, and the colors of the clouds. All right. So you can like do any composition you want, to be honest. Okay, and with this in place, all is left is just maybe some minor details that we can deal with in the next part.